Welcome to fmtraining.tv. My name is Margaret. I'll be your broadcast engineer for today. Hello, people. It's good to see you here. Today's kind of an interesting, we're doing kind of an open Q&A, kind of a mix of, frankly, questions curated from FM Forums. FM Forums is probably, I think, the biggest FileMaker forum, biggest English FileMaker forum. There might be a couple other forums that are bigger.
Probably a Japanese one that's bigger.
I'm going to say Japanese, right? Yeah.
Japanese are really big in FileMaker. Yes. So today's a very exciting day, Margaret. So what do we have going on? Today's open Q&A. If you want to support the channel and you want Margaret to get paid, which is really a good thing, then you can purchase one of the bundles to keep it up to date. But we have a report, a validated report by Garrett Debsky, one of our senior engineers, that if you are using FileMaker, there's a new on window. Mark, can you open up FileMaker to show? Open to a file. Yeah, that's good. Go to pick any file. Okay, now go to File and go to File Options. So this also covers kind of a preview of what's coming up on Tuesday, but it's an important nugget. Hit script triggers for me. So under script triggers here, scroll that down a little bit. There's on window transaction, which is really interesting. This is has ties and capabilities to do audit trails. Well, we have a 2-day coming up on this. I'm a little bit, it's a whole file trigger. And the reason we've never talked about this in great length is because this is one of those moments where they've misnamed something very badly. And because it came out about the same time that Claris did triggers. So we assume it has to do with the trigger management on triggers in script. In scripting, right? Has nothing to do with that. But it had the trigger word in there, so we're like, it must be part of that. We already know how that works, so screw this, right? So it turns out they actually knew what it did. They'd be amazed. So here's the rub. On Monday, Tuesday, we're going to cover how you could turn this into an audit trail. It's really awesome. It's great. However, customer has, so Garrett's turned this on. He's using it, okay? And then along the way, for whatever reason, the file was, I don't know if it was closed down or whatever, but it was open in FileMaker 18. By opening the FileMaker, the FMP12 file in 18, after it had been running with obviously 20.3, because this is a 20.3 or 20.2, it's a fairly new addition. What happens is that FileMaker 18 shuts that off.
Wait, it shuts it off like completely within the file? Like it
unchecks it. Like I checked it right here, it unchecks it.
So it doesn't just ignore it, it unchecks it for the file everywhere else.
And then if you open it 19 or 20 or 20 in later versions, it doesn't check it back on. So it's basically like, hey, I unplugged your refrigerator about a week ago. Sorry, the food's rotten in there. So this is the refrigerator unauthorized unplugging. They unplug it, then they push it, they roll the fridge out, they unplug it, and then they push it back in and pretend nothing happened. Literally. And so we're like, God, why is this? The audit's not working anymore. And we go back and Garrett's like, nah, it couldn't be 18. That would just be bizarre. No, it's 18. It's totally true. It's a real thing. So be advised, Ruben and Frogs. If you're doing audit trails with Frogs, you better be very careful about what you do. Yeah, the problem is on transaction complete still sounds like part of the, I don't know. I haven't thought of it. All I know is that I thought it had to do with a transaction that had to do with the new transaction script steps, like start transaction or begin transaction or whatever it is in scripts. And then you have a complete, so beginning and end, right? And then it rolls all the data. So I thought it had to do with that. Well, from the engineering perspective at Claris, the engineers that work under the hood, it's part of that transaction system. But as a developer, it has absolutely nothing to do with that forced transaction scripting that we do.
Well, that's an interesting.
Yeah. At least I don't think it does. Maybe everyone can change their mind on a Tuesday or Wednesday when Calvin does this thing. So waiting for on mouse over script trigger for objects. That would be really nice. Most things can be handled by JavaScript. Yeah, but JavaScript doesn't get run wild under the FileMaker layout interface, Ruben, right? So you can't just write JavaScript and tell it to watch the FileMaker layout. It doesn't work that way. JavaScript can watch a web viewer, but it can't watch. That's where Monkey Bread comes in. Monkey Bread can watch for that kind of stuff. You can do it with Monkey Bread, David Angel. The bug report.
Hold on, I'm going to type that up. Don't use on window transaction with FileMaker 18.
Well, no, back up. I would say it differently. I said if you're using on It's a file option. So it's not, so understand that triggers are file-based or layout-based or object-based. If it's a file-based trigger on window transaction. If you are using that transaction, which a lot of you will be after next week, you'll like the whole audit trail stuff. Don't allow your FileMaker solution to be open in 18. That being said, I don't know if a startup script will prevent it. That's the one test I want to run is like, if someone tries to like, or if you set the safety, like if you go to file, Mark, open the back to FileMaker, go to file options, and then go hit open on the left. Oh, right there, the option, that minimum version, right? There's a bug with that too. Never mind that, but you could set that to like 19 or 20 or something. I think that is the version.
Probably don't want to do that. Hold on. Sorry. We're not, I'm going to cancel, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, but it should be like 20, right? So when we talk about the current version of FileMaker is either FileMaker 20 or 23, depends on whether you're talking to marketing or engineering. And the next one will be 21, 24. But I think this is the actual version number. So you'd put 20 or 21 in here, right?
Oh, we'd have to test it. I have no idea what it would react. I assume the version number, like you're saying. What, in order to make sure it doesn't run on 18, you'd make this like 18 or whatever, or no, 19?
The minimum version would be 19, right?
Got
or
it.
20, right? Now, the thing is this, because here's the thing. In order for it to evaluate this, it has to actually open the file kind of in the first place a little bit.
Oh, and will that automatically swap it off before it can
Question is, what
recognize?
point does the auto shut off actually trigger? And I don't know the answer.
That's a good question.
Will this prevent it? And then if you do a startup script, remember, a startup script is going to run, it absolutely has rendered part of the first layout and it's running code. I'm guessing that it's already, I don't think a startup script is going to keep you from having a problem. I think you'd have to adjust it. I'm thinking here, because this happens, this will fire and stop the action before the startup script runs in 18. That makes sense? So, moving along. Next question we have from the audience. We have any questions? We did have a question the other day about the random. Actually, let me demo it on my screen and then you can make notes and we'll jump back to you momentarily. So I'm over here and I am going to show you this real quick. So random, someone came up and asked, and we have this about every week or so, how do I create a random string of text? So there's two things that come in with random. People want a random string for using as primary keys or something like that in FileMaker. That's the idea of UUID. So there's a function called get UUID, right? If I say watch, I create a new watch. So there's two UUIDs that says get UUID. That's the general one. If you say get that and you tell it to evaluate, that's a random string. It's supposed to be not repeatable within like 13 million attempts or something, 13 billion attempts or 1.5 billion. It's a big number. It's supposed to always be unique. So if I keep firing this up over here, back over here, you got your UUID right here.
Got
so
it.
this get UUID as number is the one that you're going to use for speedy UUID number. This is the same thing, but it's only a number. There's no alpha characters in there. And so it's just kind of effectively the same thing. And because it's only a number, if you put this in number fields, you derive, there's a performance boost, not on anything that most of us are doing, but if you start dealing with millions of records, like a million records, like, no big deal, bro. Hold my beer. And you're doing like a couple million records easily, then UUID number is a much better one for you. So, but that brings up the issue. I want a random number. That for a random number, that sucks. I don't even know if I start putting commas in there, how big of a number that is. It's a lot of digits. So there's a function that we have in starting point totally free. And we were looking this up earlier, random. So the randomest function that Claris gives you is what this is. It's a decimal number that just sucks. It's never one. It's always a decimal number below one. And so you're like, I can't, who wants a decimal number? I want a random, pick a number between 1 and 10. You got like, everyone, Margaret, pick a number between 1 and 10.
23.
Pick a number between 1 and 10.
Sorry,
Here's the thing right here. If you go, random integer is a function we created. So if I say pick a number between 1 and 10, it's not going to give us 23. So that's what this is. So that's a custom function that's in starting point. We stole it from someone, I'm sure. Hopefully they're commenting there. If you go into starting point, you say monitor, that's fine. Come over here and you say cancel. We're going to go up here, say file, manage, custom functions, and you've got down, you go to alphabetical by random. And so it was put in here. So whatever this is, it does a multiplication, does this other stuff, whatever. I don't care. So that's the way it works. I actually even don't even care how it does what it does. It just does it. But it does use at its base the FileMaker random function, which is kind of a pseudo random. Once again, just to be clear about FileMaker functions and random, getting randomized keys is super important these days with encryption and things like that. Um, FileMaker in most basic software systems, it fakes the random a key. People who businesses like Google or something, they generate keys that are legitimately random. They actually do things like, well, we got this radiation detector on top of the roof, and they detect the radiation of the atmosphere randomly above the building or something, and that's a seed number they drop in that helps generate a random number because that will generate true randomness. It's like AI. They have smart algorithms in FileMaker, but they're not, or in AI, Chat GDP and stuff. They're not self-aware.
There's kind of a question. I have a pondering. Soon it'll be possible in EU to install iPhone and iPad apps outside of the Apple Store. Now it'll be even easier to install FM apps as an app outside of FM Go.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes for the EU, right? But then it's not. It's a EU specific thing, right? So you can install iPhone. Now it will be easier to install FM apps. Yeah, so
So he's talking about what run
they're talking
timing
about the
apps?
iOS. They're talking about Fias, Fias the cat,
There we go.
FIAS, 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 FileMaker iOS app SDK. So there's a lot of iOS app SDKs. So if you want one that's FileMaker specific or Claris specific, it would be a C or an F in front of that, and then you have yourself a new acronym. Monkey Bread did it with us at one point where he built an app and then he would drag and drop it because it's an IAP. I think it's an IAP is the extension for that. It's actually like a folder directory and inside are a bunch of resources. That's what makes an iOS app an iOS app. And he drag and drop it, move it to a Mac with a Silicon processor. Like right here, I'm on this Mac Studio, and it's got an M1 Max on it, right? So this could run iOS or iOS apps natively if you can get them on here. The rub is getting them distributed. So here's the funny thing about this. I'm not sure what's going to go on with the Apple Store. They'll probably say you can distribute stuff through other stores, but Apple's not going to help you with by doing that, right? So basically, that they're probably, they're going to say you can do it, but Apple's not going to run and jump over a cliff and make. I mean, they remove the restriction, but then someone still has to carry the water on it. And you still have to build the app, and then the apps are not going to be code signed by Apple, so that will generate a security alert, right? So everyone that keeps tilting windmills with Apple, understand that that's one of the reasons why the apps in generally and the App Store are fairly secure is they go through a security process, and Apple can sit on them if they cause problems. That doesn't really happen as much on Google, so the Google Marketplace. So just keep in mind that I don't know how that'll go, and considering that Claris is part of Apple, whatever Apple's corporate policy is, overall will probably be Claris's corporate policy. As a result, I don't know that you're going to see Claris running around trying to make double secret sideways probation apps that go sideways around Apple, right? Just keep that in mind. Yep. All right. So are we out of questions already? Where's our
I
next set of
mean,
questions? How do
we
I
have
create a
this.
value? We did that. Show field on button. Show field on button press. All right. The question is: this topic is 1,048 days old. That's an old topic, but it's only 3 years in the sense of things. So it's probably a FileMaker 19 question. I want to set up whereby a field is hidden under a button press unhides the field. Can I hide the field by using get window zero hide object? After I am after a script, but will unhide the button when the button is pressed. Yeah, it's not a great question. Oh, this person right here. I don't know who this person is. There's some person called Comment, and they answer a lot of questions. I don't think there's a well-defined problem. So the user presses a button and a field appears. It should it appear only for the current record or for all records, for only one-time users? All you need is a flag field. That gets back to this hidden thing. I created one of the things it's toying with is a field that shows from where I obtained the recipe. Yeah, so the hidden object command in FileMaker, I'm going to go to layout mode here. There's a lot of these little hidden items that pop up. I'm going to pop the inspector on the right side. We have the hidden data tab, hidden option right here, hide objects when, right? Makes sense. You have to do something, say like we're on the screen and like we have this one. Let me see. Let's just go like add note. If I click on add note, if the window mode is one, so the mode is it's hiding whether it's in find mode or not. So hide object when window mode is one. So which brings up an interesting, what is window mode, right? So we go over to our fancy dancy help. I'm gonna say get window mode. And because there's four modes, right? Get functions, get window mode. So one's going to be zero's browse, one is find, two is preview, three for printing is in. That's
Huh. What?
interesting.
I didn't realize. Is that not what preview mode was meant to be? To be like a print mode kind? Well,
No, they have a difference here. I've never seen this before, or I've never paid attention to it before. They're differentiating between preview mode, how it might look on paper, and the actual process of printing. So at the point which you initiate the print command, maybe it's because they might want a button to be in preview, but you really don't have functional buttons in preview mode. I don't think buttons are functional in preview mode. Preview, yeah, that's interesting. This was put in there because there's a edge case, right? Once again, with all edge cases where someone's doing something, it's a little strange. But the short version is that the code says it will hide the object when it's one. So it won't hide it if it's in browse mode, which is the intent, but they're acting like these are the only two modes. There's also, it's going to be visible in preview mode. It's going to be visible in printing mode. It's also going to be visible if evaluating the function from the data viewer and the current window is in layout mode. That's another interesting edge case. I'd have to ask Nick
wait,
about
what? Hold on. I've just read that and like process what was happening.
the
So,
win. If you're in layout mode over here and we're doing stuff in the data viewer right here, that is window mode 4. Like if I go right
that's its
now,
own mode? That's
uh,
weird.
well, yeah, they consider it clearly under the hood a different mode. That's really interesting. I
So
just
could
learned something new. Window mode. Let's just see if it does it. And then, oh, I have it. Yeah, if you're doing data viewer and your wait, back up. Let me hit OK here, or let me set monitor. I don't have to do it again. Now, if I'm over here in browse mode, oh, so now it's 0. Browse mode 0, but if you're in layout mode, but the data viewer is open, then you could put different things on the layout, like things that would help you diagnose things. That's really, aren't any of you using this? This is really interesting. So other questions that are on topic. Okay, this one's only 2 years old. Let's see. So, Fabrice answers the question. Fabrice is an interesting character. I have a report that has a section on a subsummary that is a field that's trailing. It splits across 2 pages. Yeah, this has always been something that mostly works. And then you get into a spot where you can't really fix it or do something, and I'm not quite sure how to fix it. But yes, having parts of a layout that split across a merge is kind of traumatic. So what you can do is say break before every occurrence, break every. This is so sub summaries, right? Different kind of topic.
aren't you supposed to make printing when you design a printing layout? Isn't this supposed to take stuff into account? So what exactly is she upset about?
Nah, well, okay, so back up. So let's go to Big Valley. Let's just do it in Big Valley because that's where we're having the most fun right now. So let me go to recent Big Valley Aviation. So I was actually looking at a report there the other day. And so they asked me about a feature, Margaret, I didn't tell you about. And it turned out that I really couldn't do it in a reasonable sort of way. So if we're on a work order and they're working on all these little issues, like I had this problem and the rotor blade fell off and the pilot slipped and broke his neck. These are all little things like bleed air valve, heater, and a firewall. Blah, 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 blah. So then they kick out a report. And so we have this report. And so it generates this right here. And I preview the report. So let's take a look at this report. This report is a multi-page report. Multi-page report.
Yes, I've
Yes.
worked on
And
these.
so, in fact, you worked on this, and you worked on this quite a bit, Margaret. So, to do a multi-page report with multiple records and have it break across the bottom nicely, we do the same thing in starting point. It's in starting point as a sample where The body is going to be the line items. Most of the time when people, like you build this layout, right? So if I'm going to make the layout a little smaller, here we go, like an invoice or something. Here's a report. There's the parent record is a work order, a portal that shows discrepancies. Okay. It's an invoice with line items, same thing. Okay. If I go to invoice over here, the same thing. Here's an invoice with line items. Normally on a FileMaker layout in the old days anyway, you wouldn't have all these other extra pieces over here. The data entry screen would look a lot like the printout. So people would just print. That's how this all started back in 1989 or 88.
So what, they'd make their invoice layout look like what they wanted to print like
They
instead of.
printed the data entry screen out.
Oh, okay.
Then they
Didn't even.
decide they'd separate it. The problem is that you really, it's a portal. And so you've got fundamentally a one-page document. It's never a multi-page document. So to make it multi-page document, you have to do this thing in here where you go to work orders, and then you have this. So single page, just anytime when we write single page, it means it's a portal driven by a portal, and it only does one page well. Multi-page. So let me just show you 604 real quick. So looks like this is broke because it's copy starting point. But here is if I got a layout mode, but see it's right here. The body's the entire side, right? So the problem is that this whole body belongs to a work order, and the lines are a portal. That sucks. If you want a multi-page document, it has to be work order and then what I call a multi-page one, which is right here. And so then the body is a record. So we're actually now on discrepancies. So every record, and it's really big right here but it'll shrink down, which is really great. And so every body part here is the child. So we were on a screen where we had the parent was a work order, the child were discrepancies. To print it, we did a GTR, we jumped to all the related items so that they're here. And then we put basically the parent, it's kind of a reverse relationship. The parent data, the header information, this is all from the work order up here. Makes sense? So this is the work order. The bottom's a work order, as it turns out. And then it repeats a number of times in the middle as many times as you need. And that way it breaks across the pages cleanly. This is not a portal. So if I go to browse mode, they're really big and fat. Really, that whole area is reserved. But if you go to preview mode, it shrinks down. It saves the space because we've told to shrink down, save space. And then we got, well, we're page of one, whatever. The point is, though, as I go next page, it's more records here. Right?
How does it know when to cut off? How does it know not to cut off in the middle of a record?
Because body parts generally never. Oh, in layout mode, you go to the body part. You go to layout setup, and you go to views. No, I'm screwing this up. Hang on. I got to go to layout part setup. See this part setup? This really should be, in my opinion, that's why I screwed up. These two should be together because they both have to do with the layout setup. This part setup should be part of this up here. Anyway, so it's called part setup. You go to the body, you double click it or you edit it, whatever. So we're editing the body, and you tell it not to break it after every occurrence. So after every body, it's going to get a new page, right? That would be a waste of paper or PDF space. Break the page after 10 occurrences or 5 occurrences. You knew that. Restart page numbering, allowed to break across page boundaries. So by default, it will not break the body into chunks. Okay. It waits. It has to fit entirely. If you say this, then you say it can chop a body in half, a body part in half, literally chop a body part in half. And then the other half, it's like a magician when they cut the person in half. First half is on page 1. Back half is on page 2, and you always wonder why the person's not bleeding, right? It's one of those deals. It's like, wow. Then right here, this is discard the remainder. So this is like chop the body in half, keep the top half on page 1, the bottom on page 2, get rid of it. So you've been doing this, Margaret. You didn't even know you were really doing it. Why? That's how that works. So we want to control this experience as well as possible. Once again, browse mode and preview mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can see what it'll look like on paper or on pen. I have a problem. I've been trying to fix this. I cannot fix these lines here at the bottom.
Yeah, I can't get FileMaker to convince to connect. I don't know if we just need to overclock it so it shows up in preview or what. Dave,
Yeah.
it says
So
something about think it is set to shrink if it finds spaces in the field.
yeah, that's how that all works. So what you do is you go over here and what you do is you take the items that are in here, like this one, and you come over to I make this smaller so we can see it. So then we come over here and you can say slide all up based upon blah, blah, blah. And then also reduce the size of the closing part. That caused the body part to light up. So these are all set this way. If I turn one of these off, then the body part will slide up until it hits the bottom of the part that's not allowed to. Okay. So
That
yeah.
makes sense. Good to know some of the important like checkboxes for the actual printing layouts.
Yep.
So wait, what's the answer to her specific question? She didn't like the fact it was splitting, so she needs to go.
Yeah, it was FileMaker is there's always been a challenge, not so much in recent memory, but always a challenge of not lopping off parts, breaking them weird across the bottom of a page or something like that. Once again, it goes back to this old design that they had from FileMaker 2 and bitmaps and all this other stuff. So the short version of that, Claris go through a number of major engineering efforts to clean up the print jobs to make sure they work well. And I'm talking like FileMaker 14, 15, 16 days. That being said, if you go to layouts, part setup, and you go to the body or whatever, you're going to hit change it, and you're going to say, make sure this is selected correctly. Okay. These options have changed over the years, right? So check your version of FileMaker. Hopefully all of you using FileMaker 20.3 or something like that, and turn that on.
Jesse is curious if the horizontal line that you and I are having trouble with is in the footer or the body.
Yeah, that's the problem. And I don't want to break it because it's the customer solution. So I could like layout, I could duplicate I'm going to browse mode and save it. And then I'm going to go to, if I go to preview it. Yeah, okay. The layout, I'm going to duplicate the layout so we don't bogart the layout. Now I'm going to duplicate a copy. The problem I'm having has to do with see that line? That line is, the line belongs to the
footer,
this
trailing.
footer right here.
Oh.
Right. The problem is that these lines here don't extend far enough, and I don't know. Like I got no padding there. I'm just trying to figure out like this, so this line there. If you zoom in a little bit, this line extends off the bottom of the body, so it should overlap. And so you're like, well, I could move this one up, so I move it up 1 pixel. But see, if you move it too far,
it's going to snap into the trailing grand summary.
I go preview. I go down the bottom. See, it's still there. That's a big gap. That's a big gap. Where is that gap coming from?
Is it because of the trailing grand sub summary or whatever it was called?
Yeah, but the grand trailing summary would be at the end. So so understand in the layout here, there is let me go down. You've got the title header. So this is the header that's on the front page. Then you have a header so if you use a title header, then you have a header that it only shows up on page 1. And the grand trailing summary only shows up as a footer on the last page. Okay, so those are like end caps on your book collection, like a front cap, back cap, or covers of your book. Then the header and the footer are the things that go on every page. The header is here. The footer is here. So if I go to preview mode, that's the grand leading header, title header, whatever. Then down here is the regular footer. And that's the regular footer. So I don't know.
What does it look like on the last page, out of curiosity?
It's evaluating standby. Oh, 260 pages later. So that's the line. See, it's a thin line. I think that's the line off the trailing summary. And then those
that one's connected.
But see, here it wouldn't be connected because this is at the.
Is it aligned to like go towards the bottom and not scooch up? I don't know what the correct terminology for that would be.
It's interesting because it's sliding it up. Huh. I don't know. This is the kind of stuff that drives you bonkers. So like I'm just going to take these two right here and I'm going to slide them like down here like that. Shift key.
We have suggestions.
Preview. It doesn't go any farther. So what if I
can make vertical lines on the footer to compensate? What
I know, but the footer's already right here. That's the thing. So just so everyone knows, I've tried this and it's driven me nuts. Absolutely nuts. So that doesn't do anything. So I'm going to go undo. All right.
Oh, a suggestion to see what's causing the issue maybe is to like put every part background a different color so we can see exactly where it's connecting and stopping.
Yeah, let me just do this one right here. Someone suggested this.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to preview.
Hmm.
Yeah. See, so there's a gap between. I wonder if it's because we're causing it. The bottom one is sliding up a little bit because it slides up a little bit, like the number 12 here, slide up a little bit, and it's sliding these lines too. But on the last one, on the last whatever the last body part of the page is, it needs to not slide up. It needs to occupy the entire space. That's what's causing this. I just figured this out. I like the idea of color coding it, but you'd see this is clearly the footer and this is sliding up. So you need
I kind of want to see you color code it just so I can see.
all right, so you want to see me color code this? So I'm going to do color code. So this is going to be the footer, and it'll be over here. It'll be the line. Line color is going to be red. Okay, you good with that? You like red? Okay, preview
Yes.
mode.
No, I was more referring to like coloring the body parts so you see
Oh.
exactly where each one is.
Oh, okay.
How do you do
Try
that?
That's a good one, Margaret. Who did you suggest that? Who said that?
Labo 404 and
Labo.
Ruben.
So Labo, there we go. Good one, Labo. You get a gold star for being smart, smarter than the presenter. Now, these colors are designed for aesthetic pleasingness. So we just want to keep all that in mind. So I picked the colors here. All right. So green, red, and blue. All right.
Yes.
Shall we see what happens? 1, 2, 3, go. Green, 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 green.
Huh.
That's a body. It's the body, but it slid it up. So what I
Okay.
need to do is not slide up on the whatever it decides the last one is going to be on the page that fits, it needs to not slide up, but it will. So how do you tell it to slide up, but don't slide up? Need to reduce the body part size. There we go.
This is fun, actually.
Try it like, well, the problem is I could try it like that.
Huh. Let's see what happens.
No, well, this is the best idea. Maybe we should get everyone to help us build databases. Well, no. Okay, that's worse. Good job.
We should have a weekly troubleshoot party.
I don't mind, by the way, I don't mind doing this for you folks at all. Don't slide the vertical lines up. Okay. Are they set to slide up?
They might be. We might have accidentally.
Ooh,
they do. They are set to slide up.
Hang on, but if you don't turn them on, okay, there's two of them here. I'm going to turn both of them. I'm going to turn that part off first, and then I'm going to go to browse. Browse. But it's still, see that? It's still
well, you need to fix the body back to where it was originally, I think. Then we can like test properly what's happening.
You guys are just, all right.
Okay, there we go. Now it's all clean and shiny.
Almost. There we go. All right, so now we're going to slide. I'm holding the option key to override the thing on it. Oh, no. Yeah.
No, you don't want to do that. No, you don't want to do that because you want to undo the checkboxes without any interference from body manipulation.
Oh, that's right. That's right. This one and this one.
Yes.
Do we want to do all of them?
We could try all and see what happens. Yep.
One of them's causing. Ooh, they have different settings. Okay. We'll start with that. Okay, there's like 3 possibilities. Well, 4 possibilities. So let's try this one. Preview. No. Okay.
Nope. Jesse is also going feral over the anchors, so we should probably check that at some point.
About what? I'm not seeing anchors.
How we anchor the lines. Like, are they anchored to go down?
Oh, no. Would that do it?
I don't know. Nope. It was a good shot, though.
A little closer. Well, it's always got the gap. It's past it, right? See, the lines are past it. Let me just.
Mikey says use auto sizing on the line to attach to the bottom.
Auto sizing on the line to attach the bottom. I should get them. Let me just turn that off for a second. See how bad it is now. I actually shuffled it right a little bit, but it seems like it's sliding them up, and it's sliding them up, and it's just So this is now it's huge. Nice.
This has been interesting, though. It's kind of an interesting problem to have.
Because the lines are going up and down on each one. See that? As I jump through
Yeah.
this.
Okay, so they're definitely
It
sliding
has to
still.
do with the sliding up. So if you turn the sliding up off, it goes away.
But
But
didn't
then
you
you
just
have
turn the
these
sliding
real
up off?
dumbo, stupid looking layouts. So anyway, so yeah, so
Well, can't you turn the sliding up off only on the lines and let everything else still slide around?
well, that's what we have. They're off right now on the
Are they
line.
off? Oh, they are.
Yeah, I turned them off. That's what we were trying to do. Yeah, so I don't want to kill everyone here trying to solve this. The interesting problem though, this one's little like infuriating kind of things. And Jay says the field is it right at the bottom of the part? Yeah, well, we've tried moving it around. Oh, the field is not at the bottom of the part. You mean like go like super tight like that?
Yeah. Let's try that. Nope. Good shot though.
Ooh.
Oh,
Well,
closer. Well,
I think that's a random luck of the spacing draw on
spacing.
that. Yeah.
Damn.
So on the last one, on the last record, after it decides that it can fit, it needs to not it can't pull up unlimitedly. It needs to pull up and then fill is what it needs to do. I just don't know it'll do that. All right. Well, here's the deal. Today was very interesting. Hopefully, you folks are please ask questions of us in the future. Yeah, I know you do that, and I know we try to help. This is one that I ran into, and it's frustrating. And so you see what we deal with sometimes. At the end of the day, part of it is it's a little crooked now. I straighten it out, make the lines less critical, and then I tell the customer that it's like that penguin movie. You didn't see anything, right? It's all fine. It works. But mostly in FileMaker, we get it to be perfectly represented. It's just like one of those little outliers that, the customer wants it just their way. So anyway.
Yeah, FMP, it's not easy to generate reports.
Yeah, you did. That's Ruben. That's exactly what I was thinking of, Ruben. All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. But
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Bye, people.
No.